I came to this country when I was 3 years old, and I didn't know the impact of being undocumented would have in my life until I graduated high school and realized I wasn't going to be able to afford out-of-state tuition. But thanks to the Texas Dream Act, I was able to pay in-state tuition, and I was able to graduate from the University of Texas at Austin. With a degree in Spanish and psychology. But when I heard that Dan Patrick and Greg Abbott are campaigning to overturn the Dream Act, I vowed to fight with all my knowledge and power to protect that Dream Act, because me and many of the people like me deserve the right to live the American dream.
That's right. Yes.
I need everybody here and your family and friends to go vote so we can make that dream a reality. Because if we don't go vote, the other person's going to win, and we don't want that. Right. That's why we need all of you to go vote. Right. Let's feel it out right now. Y'all ready?
Yes.
Let's feel it out. Check everything you can do. Check it, please. And if you can volunteer, come help us. Because I've been here, because that's why I'm here today. Fighting with the Texas Organizing Project and knocking on people's doors and calling them so to get them what to vote, to make sure that our rights are protected. Because we all deserve the American dream. So we got to go get out there and vote. Because if we don't, our dream is going to die. Then who wants that? We want a better future for us and our families. So we need you to go vote. And I would like to introduce Guadalupe Ruiz.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you all here. My name is Lupe Ruiz, and I am voting this year to help protect the Texas Dream Act for Victor and thousands of students like him.
That's right.
I'm also voting because I'm demanding that Texas expand Medicaid once and for all. Let me tell you why. Since moving to Dallas in 1976, I have never had health care insurance. For years, my husband worked in a factory, but the health insurance was too expensive. He would go to Mexico for his health care, and sadly, we lost him 8 years ago in an accident. Since 2010, I've been battling with diabetes. I've been gone without medication to control it because I can't always afford the $50 a month that it costs. Because of my diabetes, I have had steady employment since 2010. Even then, I didn't have any access to the health insurance. Thanks God for Parkland Hospital and for Parkland Health Plus. Parkland Plus is a program to help Dallas County residents like me pay for the health care service at Parkland. But it is not a health insurance, but it helps. And that's why we need Medicaid expansion. So people like me can get access to good health care and a better at work, or to provide for my family. That's why I'm here to vote today. This is my first time voting.
All right.
It is now my honor to introduce Dolores Huerta, a woman who needs no introduction at all. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Anyway. Dolores Huerta is one of the greatest organizers for the civil, labor, human rights. With Cesar Chavez, she's a co-founder at the National Farm Workers Association in 1962, which later became the United States Farm Workers. Dolores has served as a community activist and a political organizer. In 1998, President Clinton awarded her with the Eleanor Roosevelt Award for the Human Rights, and in 2011, she was awarded the Medal of Freedom by the President Obama. The most important, she is a mother of 11 children. And it is my honor to introduce Miss Dolores Huerta.
Gracias, thank you for the kind introduction. And I'm so happy to see all of you here on this very, very important day, which is the first day of voting. And there is so much excitement. I just was in Austin yesterday and at a big dinner for the Texas Freedom Network, and there were over 1,000 people there, okay? 1,000 people there, and the excitement is, you can almost touch it because people know that there's going to be some great things happening here in the state of Texas. And of course, coming from California, and I always think, oh man, Texas, we have so much potential in Texas, and when is it going to reach its potential? And now I feel that it's happening now, thanks to the work of this organization, COP, all of the great organizers here, the hard work that they're doing. And I think sometimes we wonder, especially if we're talking about our Latino community, hey, ¿por qué no están votando? Why aren't they voting? Okay, well, we have the same issues over there in California, but one of the things that I've decided, again going door to door like many of you are doing now, you know what? Our people have to be invited to vote. Los tenemos que invitar. Because unfortunately, from the time that we were little kids, ¿qué nos dicen? No seas entremetido, right? Don't be a Barinsky. We get a Bill Wackens to describe that, don't go where you're not invited, And so what we have to do with our community, we have to go and invite them to vote, no? We have to convince them and tell them that their vote is so important. And I want to tell you a couple of little political stories or things that just happened recently. Well, of course, in California, we have this great governor, Jerry Brown. And when Jerry Brown ran for governor, the woman who ran against him, the Republican woman, she spent $160 million. Can you imagine? Yeah. $160 million. Jerry Brown spent $35 million. He didn't even have a campaign manager, okay? And he won, but you know how he won? We got all these, because Jerry Brown is from Northern California, and all of the constitutional officers are from Northern California. You know who got him elected? The housekeepers, the janitors, the laborers, the construction workers, the farm workers, okay? Because they all went door to door, inviting our people to vote. And that's how he got elected. Toda la raza, toda la gente trabajadora, these are the ones that got Jerry Brown elected. And I'm going to tell you a little story. This is in Vermont. Not Vermont, excuse me, Virginia. The state of Virginia. How many Latinos are in the state of Virginia? About 7%. 7% Latinos in the state of Virginia. guess what? The governor who got elected, a guy named Terry McCullough, very close to the Clintons, he got elected by the Latino vote. That's 7%. The numbers, okay? 63,000 Latinos voted for the Democrats. 63,000. He won by 53,000 votes. Think about that. 63,000 Latinos voted for the Democrats. Terry McCullough, the Democrat governor, won by 53,000 votes, okay? Now, his opponent, a guy named Cuccinelli, he was running for governor, and he was saying, oh, the immigrants are like rats. The only way you can get rid of them is by putting pesticides on them. So the people got mad, you know? Like this and go home, and they came out and voted. And, you know, I'm looking to myself, like in California, you know, we have this great governor, we have Latinos in the legislature like you do here, but you know what we got? We got the Affordable Care Act, right? Yeah. We got the Affordable Care Act, and hundreds of thousands of people signed up for health care that they never had before. And when I think about Texas, that the people here are being deprived of having the health care that they need because your governor doesn't like our President Obama? What's that all about, no? What is that all about? That's vindictive. But the people that suffer are the people that don't get that health care. And I wonder, how come the people are not marching in the streets and getting angry and saying, this is so wrong? Here, this is free. The federal government is giving us this money so that our people will not get sick, so they can take care of their diabetes, you know, so that they get the kind of medications that they need. And this governor is not giving it to us. If that doesn't make people mad, I don't know what could make them mad. No, I don't know what could make them mad. So we have to, you know, go out there and tell people the story. We are being deprived here in Texas of a basic human right, a basic human need, and it's being deprived por un capricho del gobernador, you know? How do you say capricho in English? Capricho. It's kind of like kind of vindictive, kind of out of spite, right? Out of spite. And so I think this is a message that we have to take to people. And you know what? The other thing is that 7% of Latinos in the state of Virginia. How many are we in Texas? 40%? 40% compared to 7%? I mean, really, we have it in our hands. Lo tenemos en nuestras manos, you know, we have it in our hands. But we've got to get out there and we've got to tell people and we've got to remind them, you've got to fight for your rights. If you don't fight for your rights, nobody's going to fight for them. It's in your hands, okay? When we were organizing the farm workers initially, and people would say to us, how are you going to organize the farm workers? They're poor. They don't speak English. They're not citizens. They don't have any money. And you know what we said? We said to the workers, you have power. But the power is in your person, right? The power is in your person. But we know that we can't change things unless we all come together and make it happen. And so that's what we have to say to our people out there. Every single person that can vote, you have the power. And election, you know, comes along every 2 years, you know. And this is the time when we have to use the power that we have. And if we don't use that power, it's like we are putting our own hands behind our back and saying, okay, hit me again. Déjame de vuelta, okay? And no, okay, you know, you're trying to do this, you're trying to do that. It's okay, go ahead and hit me again. I'm just absconding my power so that you can do whatever you want to me. And we have to remind our people, election day is the most important day of your life. The most important day of your life, because that is the day that those people that we elect, like these 5 gentlemen here, they make the decisions of what they're going to do with our money, our tax dollars. Is our money go to more jails or does it go to more schools, right? You know, that they make the decisions. They make the laws that are going to affect our lives. And so, you know, we have to explain that to our people, because a lot of them, they don't think their vote is important. They don't think that they matter. People don't pay attention to them in the past. And so we have to go, no, you are somebody and your vote matters. And your vote will make the difference in this election. And if we can get that message out to people, we know we've got the numbers. We know we've got the numbers, but we just got to, you know, bring them out and drag them out and talk to them until they can come out and vote. And we've got time to do that, no? We've got 2 whole weeks. We've got early voting, but we've got to hit those phones and we've got to do that walking. We've got to knock on those doors. And I want to just say that, if every one of us here, and I know I'm talking to the choir here, right? So we got to talk to those other people out there. But you know, in the farmer movement, we used to say, every worker is an organizer. Cada trabajador es un organizador. So if we can think of ourselves like here, like the COP organizers, each one of us is an organizer. How many people can we go out there and reach? We can think of 10 people that we know, but more than that, we're going to ask those 10 people that we talk to talk to another 10 people, right? Another 10 people that they know, ask them to talk to another 10 people. And let's get them to come out as volunteers to help with the phone banking, to go into their precincts, into their neighborhoods, and convince them. Y la gente que no tiene documentos, the people that don't have documents, they can help too because they pay taxes, right? They can't vote, but they can knock on the doors. And they can knock on the doors and they can pass the leaflets and they can also talk on the phones. They can also do the phone banking. And so we've got an army here. We've got an army here for justice in Texas. It's un ejército para la justicia. But we've got to mobilize our army. And I know Hector's here from Lulac, okay? When I was here campaigning before, I want you to know that they set up all kinds of press conferences for me all over Texas, okay? We just rode through Texas and we went through Texas and we had press conferences and we got people out there. And so I know LULAC's going to do that again. We need LULAC to help us do this work and all the other organizations that we have here, and then we can make it happen. Let's create a Texas miracle, okay? Let's get really elected. Okay, a little joke that Cesar used to tell us all the time when we're organizing the farm workers. And this is about a jinete, a horseman. He's a cowboy, right? And he's going through, and he's riding on his horse, and he's got a big old whip in his hand. And he sees a little dog coming by the road, and he hits the dog. And the dog goes yelping, running away. And he goes along on his horse, and he sees a cow. And he gets his whip and he hits the cow, and the cow goes mooing, running away too. And then he's riding along, he comes up to a big tree, and he twirls his whip and he looks up there. There's a beehive. And then he says, I better not, they're organized. I better not, they're organized, okay? So we know we have the numbers because we're the majority, right? We're the majority. Women, people of color, white men of conscience, okay? All of our communities coming together, we are the majority. So we've got to make the decisions. We've got to be the deciders to elect the people that we want. And so I'm going to ask all a question. I'm going to ask you, who's got the power? And I want you to say, we got the power, okay? And then I'm going to say, what kind of power? And you're going to say, people power. Okay, let's say it really loud. Who's got the power?
We got the power!
What kind of power?
People power!
Now I'm going to ask the question again, but this time I want you to say, when I say what kind of power, I want you to say voting power, okay? Who's got the power?
We got the power!
What kind of power?
Voting power!
Who's got the power?
We got the power!
Louder. What kind of power?
Voting power!
So are we going to get out there? We're going to organize. Okay, each one of us is going to become an organizer. We're going to go out there. We're going to light a fire into everybody. And I'm going to say, ¿se puede o no se puede?
Sí se puede!
Okay. Some people say, what's that? Well, that's, yes, we can, okay? And when I met President Obama, he said, I stole your slogan. I told him, yes, you did. So it's sí se puede, it's yes, we can in Spanish. So let's put our hands up, and we'll do an organized hand clap. Let's go. Sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede. About Ebola, and I know it's a big deal here in Dallas. They're talking about boycotting Dallas. Oh, we can't do that. But just remind people when they talk about that, they want to blame the president or they want to blame the CDC. Just remind them of one little thing: the Republican Congress cut over $400 million, okay, from the Center for Disease Control. If they would not have cut that money out, who knows? The cure for Ebola would have probably been found a long time ago. So just remind people, if they want to blame the president or somebody else, blame the Republican Congress.
All right, give it up for Dolores Huerta, please. So, as I was listening to her speak and
as she was sharing her political stories